The harsh truth about men today. Look around for a moment. Men today are surrounded by more comfort, more convenience, and more opportunity than at any point in history. Yet most are weaker than ever before. Not weaker in muscle, but in mind. We live in an age where discipline has been replaced by distraction, courage replaced by comfort, and conviction replaced by constant scrolling. Most men aren't leading their lives, they're being led. Led by trends, led by addictions, led by the fear of what others think. Think about it. How many men do you know who collapse the moment life gets hard? Who avoid difficult conversations? Who numb themselves with endless entertainment instead of facing their pain? The truth is, modern life has made weakness easy and strength rare. And here's the paradox. While men have more tools to build greatness than ever, they also have more temptations to destroy themselves than any generation before them. That's why so many men look strong on the outside but crumble under pressure. They wear confidence like a mask, but inside they're plagued with anxiety, fear, and self-doubt. The harsh truth is this. Most men aren't living as men. They're living as boys in grown bodies, waiting for someone else to give them direction, validation, and purpose. And deep down, they know it. That's why this message stings. Because it's real. But here's the good news. Weakness isn't permanent. Mental fragility isn't destiny. The same forces that break most men can forge others, if they choose a different path. And in this video, we're going to uncover exactly how. Because once you understand why most men are mentally weak, you'll also understand the exact blueprint to become mentally unshakable. Why comfort has made us fragile. Comfort. It sounds harmless, even desirable. After all, isn't that what society tells us to chase? A comfortable job, a comfortable home, a comfortable life. But here's the problem. Comfort is slowly killing the strength of men. Our ancestors didn't have the luxury of endless convenience. Their days were filled with real struggle. Hunting, farming, building, surviving. And through that struggle, they developed resilience. Mental toughness was forged out of necessity. If they collapsed under pressure, they didn't eat. If they avoided pain, their families suffered. Now fast forward to today. Everything is a click away. Hungry? Order delivery. Lonely? Swipe right. Bored? Open social media. Uncomfortable? Escape with entertainment. The modern world has made it possible to avoid every ounce of discomfort. And that avoidance is why most men are fragile. Because here's a timeless truth. Strength is built only through resistance. Just like a muscle cannot grow without weight, the mind cannot grow without struggle. When men avoid pain, they avoid growth. When they run from discomfort, they run from the very challenges that would have made them strong. This is why small inconveniences trigger outsized reactions. A harsh word from a boss, a breakup, a financial setback. Instead of facing them with courage, many men collapse into anxiety, anger, or victimhood. Not because they're weak by nature, but because they've trained themselves into weakness by constantly choosing comfort over growth. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said it best. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long if you know how to use it. And what do most men use it on? Distraction. Escaping into easy pleasures instead of embracing the discomfort that makes life meaningful. If comfort is the cage, resistance is the key. And the men who choose resistance, who choose struggle over ease, are the ones who break free from mental weakness and step into true strength. Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic standard of strength. When we think about strength, most people imagine a soldier, an athlete, or someone with physical power. But one of the greatest examples of strength in history wasn't found on a battlefield with a sword. It was found in the mind of a philosopher king, Marcus Aurelius. Marcus was emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world at the time. He commanded armies, governed nations, and bore the weight of an empire. Yet, his life was anything but easy. He endured betrayal, plagues, wars, and the death of many of his own children. Every day, he faced chaos, loss, and pressure beyond imagination. And yet, he didn't crumble. He didn't drown in self-pity. He didn't allow the crown on his head to blind him to the reality of life. Instead, he turned inward. He built his strength not by controlling the world, but by mastering his own mind. In his meditations, Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that. The man with more external power than anyone else in his era chose to anchor his strength in his inner life. That's the Stoic standard. True strength is not about how much you control the world. It's about how much you control yourself in the face of the world. Compare that to most men today. One harsh comment online, they spiral. One rejection, they collapse. One setback, they give up. Why? Because their foundation isn't internal. It's built on shaky external ground. Marcus Aurelius shows us the opposite. He teaches us that unshakable strength comes from within, from mastering thought, emotion, and perspective. The storms outside never stop, but the man who builds calm inside cannot be broken. That is the Stoic standard of strength. And it's the exact opposite of how most men live today. The silent epidemic of mental weakness. We live in an age of hidden epidemics. Not just the physical ones you hear about in the news, but a deeper epidemic, one that is silently destroying men from the inside out. Mental weakness. It doesn't always look obvious. Most men won't admit it. On the surface, they may look fine, posting pictures, cracking jokes, even achieving career success. But beneath that mask is a silent storm, crippling anxiety, emotional fragility, and the inability to handle life's inevitable struggles. Men today are breaking under pressures that generations before them endured without complaint. A relationship ending feels like the end of the world. A small financial setback feels like total defeat. Criticism from others feels like an attack on identity itself. And here's the tragedy. Many men don't even realize what's happening. They think it's just stress or bad luck or that the world is against them. But the truth is this: most men are mentally weak because they've been conditioned to avoid discomfort, and when life inevitably brings discomfort, they collapse. This epidemic shows up everywhere, in skyrocketing rates of depression and anxiety, in men escaping into addictions, gaming, pornography, alcohol, endless scrolling, anything to avoid facing their own mind, in the inability to commit, to focus, to stand firm when life applies pressure. The Stoics warned us about this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And isn't that the truth? Most men suffer not because life is unbearable, but because their own minds magnify every problem, replay every failure, and imagine every worst-case scenario. The silent epidemic of mental weakness isn't about lack of opportunity. It's about lack of resilience. And until men wake up to it, they will keep living as prisoners in their own minds. But here's the hope. Epidemics spread because of habits. And strength spreads the same way. When a man chooses discipline, courage, and self-mastery, he begins to reverse the epidemic, first in his own life, and then in the lives of those around him. Why chasing validation makes men soft? One of the biggest reasons most men are mentally weak today is simple. They are addicted to validation. From the moment they wake up, their worth is tied to external approval. How many likes did my post get? Did she reply to my text? Did my boss acknowledge my work? Did my friends notice my success? It's a constant, silent begging for affirmation. And here's the problem. When your sense of self is built on what others think, you've given away your power. You're no longer living as a man. You're living as a performer, adjusting your mask to get applause from the crowd. This need for validation makes men soft because it robs them of resilience. If the world claps, they feel strong. If the world is silent, they collapse. Their emotions are dictated by external noise instead of internal stability. Think about it. How many men chase women not because they want genuine connection, but because they crave the ego boost? How many grind at jobs they hate, not for purpose, but for status symbols that say, "Look at me, I matter"? How many avoid unpopular opinions because they're terrified of disapproval? The Stoics saw this weakness clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Read that again. We claim to value ourselves, yet we let strangers on the internet determine our mood. We want to be strong, yet our strength collapses at the first sign of criticism. Chasing validation makes men weak because it trains them to outsource their worth. And when your worth is outsourced, you're never free. You're a prisoner of approval. True strength comes from within. From living by principles, not applause. From choosing discipline, not attention. From anchoring your value in who you are, not in who claps for you. Until a man breaks free from validation, he will always be soft. But the moment he turns inward, the moment he learns to approve of himself, he becomes untouchable. The difference between external success and inner power. We live in a culture obsessed with success. Flashy cars, luxury vacations, corner offices, designer clothes. These have become the scoreboard of modern manhood. And many men chase them relentlessly, believing that once they arrive, they'll finally feel strong. But here's the truth most men don't realize until it's too late. External success does not equal inner power. You can build $1 million business, yet collapse emotionally when a deal falls through. You can have thousands of followers online, yet spiral when one person criticizes you. You can look confident on the outside, yet lie awake at night, drowning in anxiety and self-doubt. External success is fragile. It depends on circumstances, on markets, on the opinions of others. Inner power, on the other hand, is untouchable. It's the strength that remains even when everything external is stripped away. The Stoics understood this distinction deeply. Epictetus, who was once a slave, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. A man can own empires and still be enslaved to fear, to anger, to ego. Meanwhile, a man with nothing but mastery over his mind can walk in unshakable freedom. This is why so many successful men are secretly weak. They've built empires on sand, on validation, on status, on material wealth, without building the bedrock of inner strength. And when the storm comes, the empire falls. But here's the contrast. The man with inner power doesn't crumble. He can lose money, face rejection, endure hardship, and still stand firm. Because his strength isn't borrowed from the outside. It's forged inside. So ask yourself, are you building external success or inner power? Because one makes you impressive. The other makes you unshakable. How modern distractions kill resilience. If there's one invisible enemy draining the strength of men today, it's not war. It's not famine. It's not even hardship. It's distraction. Everywhere you turn, something is fighting for your attention. Your phone buzzes. Notifications light up. Ads follow you. Infinite entertainment is one swipe away. And with every click, every scroll, every binge, something deeper is happening. You're losing resilience. Why? Because resilience is built when you face discomfort head-on. But modern distractions train men to escape discomfort instantly. Bored? Scroll. Stressed? Drink. Lonely? Swipe. Tired? Netflix. Every time life applies pressure, distraction offers an escape hatch. And here's the danger. What you practice, you become. If you practice escaping, you become a master of avoidance. If you practice distraction, you become fragile in focus. If you practice numbing, you become weak in endurance. This is why so many men struggle to stay consistent. They can't stick with a workout because they're used to quitting when it's hard. They can't stay present in conversations because their mind is wired to crave the next dopamine hit. They can't face silence because silence feels unbearable when you're addicted to noise. The Stoics, living centuries before smartphones, warned of this very danger. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." And isn't that exactly what distractions do? They scatter your mind in 1,000 directions until you are nowhere, unable to focus, unable to endure, unable to grow. The result? A generation of men who can't sit still with their own thoughts, who can't resist the urge to check their phones every 3 minutes, who crumble when challenges require deep, undivided focus. Resilience doesn't die in dramatic battles. It dies quietly, every time a man chooses the easy distraction over the hard discipline. If you want to reclaim your strength, start here. Eliminate distractions. Guard your attention. Build focus like a muscle. Because the man who controls his focus controls his future. And the man who doesn't, he becomes another casualty of distraction. The framework for building mental toughness. Men often ask, how do I actually build mental toughness? Where do I even start? And the answer isn't a mystery. It's a framework as old as the Stoics themselves. Mental toughness isn't about pretending you don't feel pain, fear, or doubt. It's about learning to master them so they don't master you. And that requires structure. Let me give you a framework. 3 pillars that, when practiced daily, will harden your mind like tempered steel. Pillar 1. Voluntary discomfort. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that life would be filled with cold mornings, rude people, and unexpected setbacks. He trained his mind by expecting discomfort rather than avoiding it. You must do the same. Take cold showers. Skip a meal now and then. Train when you don't feel like it. Not because the shower or the hunger matters, but because every time you choose discomfort willingly, you teach your mind, I don't run from pain. I embrace it. Pillar 2. Radical responsibility. Weak men blame. Strong men own. No excuses, no finger-pointing, no if only. Epictetus, born a slave, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." That's radical responsibility. Every setback becomes a chance to grow. Every mistake becomes a teacher. When you drop the victim mindset, you step into the driver's seat of your own life. Pillar 3. Daily reflection. The Stoics ended every day by reflecting. Where did I slip? Where did I succeed? How can I improve tomorrow? You don't build toughness by drifting through life. You build it by paying attention. Start journaling every night. Ask yourself, did I run from discomfort or did I face it? Did I act from strength or from weakness? Over time, those small reflections build a fortress of awareness around your mind. This framework, discomfort, responsibility, reflection, works because it rewires you at the core. It strips away softness. It eliminates excuses. It forces you to build a kind of inner muscle that no one can see, but everyone can feel. And here's the truth. While most men are breaking down under pressure, you will be the one standing taller, calmer, and stronger. Not because life got easier, but because you got tougher. Real-world examples of mental strength in action. Theory means nothing without proof. So let's look at how mental toughness shows up in the real world, where it matters most. Example 1. The gym at 6 a.m. Picture 2 men. Both set an alarm for 6 a.m. The first man hits snooze. He tells himself he'll start tomorrow. The second man drags himself out of bed, still tired, still groggy, but he shows up anyway. One man strengthens his excuses. The other strengthens his will. Multiply that choice over weeks, months, years, and you see 2 completely different lives. That's mental strength in action. Example 2. The heated argument. We've all been there. Someone says something that hits your pride. You feel the heat rising in your chest. Weak men explode, shout, maybe even throw insults they later regret. Strong men? They pause. They breathe. They respond with clarity instead of anger. That restraint is not weakness. It's control power. It commands respect in ways rage never could. Example 3. The career setback. Imagine losing your job unexpectedly. A mentally weak man spirals, blaming the company, complaining to friends, numbing the pain with distractions. A mentally strong man acknowledges the hit, but then asks, "What's next? What can I learn? Where do I go from here?" That shift doesn't just get him back on his feet. It often launches him into opportunities he never would have seen otherwise. Example 4. The weight of silence. Here's one of the most underrated displays of mental toughness. Sitting alone, in silence, without reaching for your phone, without filling the void with noise. Most men can't last 5 minutes. But the man who can sit with his thoughts, who can face himself without distraction, becomes unshakable. Because he's not running anymore. He's present, and presence is rare. Example 5. Leadership under pressure. Look at history's greatest leaders. Marcus Aurelius, leading Rome during a plague, didn't panic. He didn't collapse under fear. He anchored himself in his Stoic principles and led with calm resolve. Fast forward to today, when chaos breaks out in a company, in a family, or even in a friend group. The man who can stay grounded becomes the anchor others look to. That's mental toughness embodied. The lesson here? Mental strength doesn't always look dramatic. It's not about climbing mountains or walking through fire. It's about the quiet, daily choices, the discipline to rise, the restraint to hold back, the resilience to move forward, and the courage to face yourself. The Stoic path to true masculine strength. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. Most men today are mentally weak, not because life is harder, but because it's easier. Comfort has dulled their edge. Distractions have drained their focus. Validation seeking has made them fragile. But there is a way back, and it's the same path the Stoics walked thousands of years ago. The Stoic path isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending to be invincible. It's about mastery. Mastery over your impulses. Mastery over your reactions. Mastery over your mind. That's where true masculine strength begins. Marcus Aurelius didn't live in a quiet palace free of problems. He ruled an empire while battling wars, betrayal, and a devastating plague. Yet he wrote in his meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That one line contains the blueprint for modern masculinity. Stop waiting for the world to make things easier. Stop hoping for perfect conditions. Stop demanding that life bends to your will. Instead, bend yourself. Train your mind to endure, to adapt, to stand firm no matter what storm you face. The Stoic path has 3 keys. 1. Control the controllables. Focus only on what's in your power. Your thoughts, your actions, your choices. Everything else is noise. 2. Embrace hardship as training. Every obstacle is not a punishment, it's preparation. Every discomfort is a chance to grow tougher. 3. Live by principles, not feelings. Weak men chase moods. Strong men live by values. Define yours, discipline, honesty, courage, and let them guide every action, especially when it's hard. When you walk this path, something shifts. You stop fearing failure because you see it as a teacher. You stop chasing approval because you know your worth comes from within. You stop collapsing under pressure because you've built the mental armor to withstand anything. And that's the Stoic definition of strength. Not muscles, not money, not status. It's an unshakable mind, a calm heart, a disciplined spirit. The kind of strength women admire, men respect, and you yourself can take pride in. This is the path to true masculine strength. Few will walk it, but those who do will stand out, not because life made them easy, but because they made themselves strong. Tying it all together. So let's step back for a moment. Over the course of this video, we've uncovered a truth that most men don't want to face. Weakness is not forced upon us, it's chosen. It's chosen in the snooze button. It's chosen in the endless scrolling. It's chosen in chasing validation, in avoiding discomfort, in letting distraction control our lives. And yet, We've also seen the alternative. We've seen the Stoic path, the path Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca walked long before us. A path where hardship becomes training, where principles outweigh feelings, and where true strength is found not in what you own, but in who you are when everything is stripped away. The reality is this: most men today are fragile because they've built their lives on sand. But you don't have to be one of them. You can choose differently. You can choose to face discomfort instead of fleeing it. You can choose discipline over distraction. You can choose inner power over external validation. And when you do, you'll discover a strength that doesn't just attract respect from others. It changes how you see yourself. Remember, mental toughness isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in the small, quiet decisions you make every single day. And when you start stacking those decisions, when you live by principle, when you own your choices, when you stop running, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become the author of your own life. This is what the Stoics knew. This is what most men have forgotten. And this is your chance to reclaim it. So, if this message hit you, if you felt even a flicker of truth stirring inside you, don't let it fade. Step onto the path today. Start building that strength today. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Share this video with a brother who needs to hear it. And like it if you're committed to becoming the strongest version of yourself. Because in a world that breeds weakness, your strength can be the difference. Not just for you, but for everyone around you. The choice is yours. Will you stay fragile, or will you rise?